What's up you guys, I hope you're well and welcome to this video. Today we'll be talking about making meaningful connections or relationships. It is very important to understand that we are created with a social need, and what this means is there is a part of us that gravitates towards wanting a society around us because that is how we were made. And from a society, that's where we learn, really. Anything that we know, we have learned from someone. Meaningful connections and relationships make society better as a whole. And what this means is once you have a meaningful connection and someone else has a meaningful connection, and we all exist in a world where connections are really meaningful, that means you put thought into it and there's a lot of contribution from both sides, then the world or the society becomes better as a whole. It's healthy. It's a healthy society to be around, you know, and it's also a form of self-care. You having a meaningful connection is a form of self-care. It means you care enough for yourself to invite connections that are meaningful, that are worthy, that will help you to thrive. What then does it take to make a meaningful connection? The quality of that relationship is what makes it meaningful. And when you look at the quality, it means it's contributing to your own mental well-being and even your emotional well-being. It contributes to a holistic person. That is how a meaningful relationship can be evaluated. That's how you gauge it. What's the quality of that relationship? And as we all know, a relationship goes two ways. You can't be in a relationship alone. You can't be in a community alone, right? So it's a two-way, and that means we have also to look at ourselves and really check how are we contributing towards this. It's a two-way. You have to contribute, I have to contribute for it to be meaningful. So what are you contributing? And you know, so many times in the Bible it talks about think of yourself or consider others better than yourself. And then if you are considering others better than you, it means it has to come from a place of service. You have to serve others. And if everyone goes into a connection or a relationship thinking of how they can serve others, then it becomes meaningful because you'll have the interest of the other people in mind, at heart. That is all you'll think about. You'll think about how to contribute to their positive growth, how to contribute to their, you know, energy, good energy. And if everyone is walking in with this kind of attitude,
then the whole society prospers.
So in the quest of knowing how well you contribute to a relationship, you have to check your social tendencies. How do you behave around a society? And there's this website I came across called Fabric. I'll have a link somewhere down below so that you guys can check it out if you are interested. It's just a series of questions that you get to answer, and at the end of it they show you what kind of a person you are in a society. Please consider looking it up and to contribute to your social well-being. A connection is meaningful and it's of high quality if you care enough to build it. It can't be one way. You have to have the interest and the desire to build it and to create it and to cultivate it for it to actually thrive. So then how do we make the connection work? How does it actually work? The first thing to understand is that it's not on our terms. We come into a setting where there are so many differences and people have their own egos or ego, you know, and trying to balance that all and see how we can have a good foundation and a common ground, it's going to be difficult. So having the understanding that everyone comes in with their differences, in as much as you're walking in to serve into that relationship or connection, understand that this person you're serving is different, so I have to take them with their differences. The other thing to know is that honesty about barriers to a broken relationship is very important. You have to express things that have caused you to be in a broken connection in the past and point them out. You have to be willing to talk about those things. Obviously, trust is the foundation. I think trust is the foundation of any meaningful connection to work, right? So if for someone to trust you, you have to be honest. This is where vulnerability comes in again. So you see how it really plays out into connections, into relationships. So you have to be very honest with this person and let them know, you know, in my previous place of work, this is how the relationship I was in ended, you know, with my colleagues. the social setting around it, you know, what contributed to it going to a waste or it not working out. Such things, you have to be very honest about it. And the other thing to consider is what kind of a person you are in a society. That's where again the Fabric website comes in. Look at it and evaluate yourself and know what kind of a person you are in a relationship or in a social setting. The society we are in nowadays has a high reliance on technology. So for a meaningful connection to work, you have to be aware of that and be very mindful and present when someone is talking to you. When people around you are trying to express their needs and their desires, you have to be very present, you know. And you know, people can feel when there's a disconnect in your communication. It's so evident, and sometimes I feel it myself when I am disconnected and when I am distracted from a conversation. I can actually feel it. You can't compare a virtual hug to a real hug from a parent or a friend. It's something that you can't compare, you know. So you have to be very aware of such things that would limit a good connection from working. And there's so many other things to consider for a meaningful connection to work. These are just some of the highlights we can look at and actually try to put them into practice. Yeah, and I know we will have something to celebrate about when it comes to connections and meaningful ones for that matter. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something from this video. Please consider subscribing if it's the kind of content that you subscribe to. Yeah, and see you in the next video. Bye for now.